Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only here with
Q.
And today we're going to be talking about...
We will be discussing the world building aspect of the next campaign that we'll be doing in Dungeons and Dragons. Now, our first campaign I called the Fey King's Coast Adventure because it was run by it was basically ruled by Oberon. Anyways, a series of events occurred. They killed an analog for Loki, and basically our good friend Jet here, his character basically took over the land after Loki was killed because he was the first person to say, "I want to refound the government."
The entire couch is on the stream.
That couch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just grab a chair.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, there you go.
Anyways, basically since he was the first person to say, "I want to rule this kingdom," everybody else ended up helping him. And our next campaign will be set in the same world, just hundreds of years in the future, in the kingdom that he and the other players founded. And since, again, he basically got dibs, I'm asking him questions about how he would run things.
Make me sit on this little stool without back support, Jet.
There's chairs over there.
Yeah, there are chairs with back support.
No, it's fine.
Alright, so anyways, this is basically a document I'm calling The Reign of King Fools, because his character's name was Roxanne Fools, so I think that's an interesting name for a king. Anyways, I've divided 10 questions up into 4 categories. We've got governance and territory, technology and the immortal magics, war and religion, and King Fool's legacy.
Jet and government, that doesn't happen.
You'll see. I am ready for all of these questions.
Alright, so
Yes.
let's start here. What sort of system of government is present in the kingdom of Roxanne? How much power do individual states within the kingdom have? And what sort of figureheads does each state have? Now, remember, basically how it's going to be set up is each of the places you guys visited, they have some sort of like descending state. So, like, Patroclus' vampires have something, Rakshasa have something, that Greek city of Sphinxia has something now.
Aren't most of those vampires still evil?
Hmm?
Aren't most of those vampires still evil?
No, in fact, none of them are. But that's to be discussed later.
Okay.
Because that has a lot to do with Avery's character, actually, which will actually be brought up here as well. Anyways, how much power does Roxanne give to these states? Like, Roxanne is king. How does everything work underneath him?
I kind of let each of the leaders of their respective areas still govern over the main laws of what go on there, but with a few, like, strict things that everyone has to follow. Those strict things mainly being, like, they have to have taxes, you have to accept anyone to not only, like, visit your place, but also live there, whether or not they be from other places. And you have to allow for roads to be built to connect your location to any of the other locations, to help truly unite the coast together.
Which is our archipelago, by the way.
We'll get to that. So, let's see if I put this down right. State powers come first, but certain laws and customs of the kingdom set in place by King Fools must be abided by. Alright. So, next one. The death of a number of immortal beings at the hands of King Fools and his compatriots has caused a series of spells called the immortal magics to activate. The kingdom of Roxanne became terramorphed into an archipelago of islands. How is this problem dealt with?
What is an archipelago?
It's a chain of islands. Jet, come on!
What you said. It's a bunch of fairly large islands. Imagine like the average island is the size of Huntsville.
Interesting. The road idea, I guess fuck that, because roads don't work. So,
Giant bridges, Jet.
Bridges, yeah, that is where I was going with it. We'll probably make bridges to connect all the islands. But the hub city idea I had also sounds weird. Is there an island in the middle? Is there something already on it?
Yes, what used to be the swamp is now basically luscious farmland that it will eventually be the capital.
Jet,
Okay, so
I'm
that
helping,
can
Jet.
become the hub. Okay, I dig
He is
that.
helping. What's it say?
We got something hour.
Oh, that was lab final exam, but already took that,
Nice.
so we're good.
So, bridges, anything else to solve that problem?
Mainly bridges. I want it to be, if you're in any one island, you can get to any one of the other islands from there.
There's so many things I would suggest, but I'm a dead guy, so can't talk.
Alright, so bridges will spread out from the main capital island. That seem about right?
Kinda. I do want the main capital to lead everywhere, but I also want everywhere to lead everywhere. Which is a lot of bridges.
And you gotta have cars drive on them, Jay.
Not cars.
No cars, but in the future.
We'll get there. That's actually.
If we go another campaign 300 years in the future.
Anyways, next category, technology and the immortal magics. The immortal magics allowed for the invention of magical weaponry known as guns. How does King Fools feel about this?
Up to individual states on whether or not they will allow guns.
What about your main state?
Like the hub?
Yeah.
I want the hub to be like a center of like peace and unity.
So no guns.
I feel like you can have guns, but you shouldn't use them. If that makes sense. It should be a thing where like have gun, maybe like turn it in at customs, or turn in bullets at customs. Maybe you want to show off your gun, but you don't want to shoot anybody.
They're magical weapons. They don't fire bullets, they have charges.
Oh, okay.
So like if you have a revolver, for example, you can fire it 6 times, and then you just have to take a turn to recharge the bullets.
Oh, okay.
Wait, 6 shots in a single turn.
No, no, like
You can't bang, 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 bang. It's like bang, 6 seconds.
That would
bang.
be ridiculous, Collin.
if you can take multiple attacks in one turn, you can fire multiple bullets, but that's it.
Now, what if I have multiple guns? Can I fire both guns? in
If
one
you
turn?
have the dual wielding,
Oh, okay.
or you're using a light gun, like again a pistol of some sort. But the whole weapon thing, that sounds like it would apply to just all weapons. Like the whole don't fire guns off thing sounds.
Let me just go a little 2 RPGs.
I mean, if you have the dual wield ability. So let's just say up to the individual state whether guns are allowed and use of weapons, but not ownership is banned.
Isn't it the other way around?
No, that's correct. You can
Own a weapon, but not use it. He said,
in the hub city, yeah.
but what he said is you can use a gun, but
Oh,
not
I
own
did
it.
say it backwards.
Oh, you did say it backwards?
No, use of weapons is banned in the capital.
That's
Okay.
what he
Like
said.
use of weapons, comma, but not ownership, comma, is banned in the
Okay,
capital.
I misunderstood that.
No problem.
Uh-huh.
Alright. The immortal magics also allowed for the creation of a new form of transportation called trains. How does King Fools feel about this?
Oh shit, remember the bridges? Trains just sound better than bridges.
Also,
Well,
were
you had to
trains,
build bridges to put the trains on top of.
did trains come before automobiles?
So it'll be like a
In, like, real life?
combination.
Yes,
Yes.
substantially. Like the first automobile was 1915, I
Yeah, and
think.
trains were like 1800 something, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like rail travel existed before that in the form of like carts and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you just want the trains on the bridges?
I also want a little path for if you want to walk, so that you don't get cut. So it's not like, oh, I missed the train.
Inventing
Guess I gotta
sidewalks.
wait for the-
Sidewalks.
Don't jaywalk in front of trains.
I guess the real question is, are the trains privately owned, or are they like government subsidized trains?
Huh. I guess I'll make it where
Like, is it government subsidized transportation like buses are in real life, or what?
each train station is governed by whatever state it's under.
Alright. Alright, so train stations at various bridges are governed by whatever state they exist
By the way, Colin,
in. But the
From-
actual, like, locomotives. Like, the trains themselves, who owns those?
Oh, like who makes them? I feel like that's paid for with taxes, so that the hub city is going to be the one who's like making the trains and everything and getting the railroad tracks. The main job of the hub government is just to unite everyone. So that's why they don't put strict rules on everybody. It's more to make it where everyone can just integrate. That one guy, Kel, said D&D. Ooh, yo, what?
Alright.
by the way, on a scale from 1 to yeehaw, how cowboy are we now?
I'd say like a 5. Like,
Okay.
you'll encounter cowboys, but not everybody's a cowboy.
Okay.
There's also samurai.
Your scale of like 1 to yeehaw. I wish it was like a yeehaw scale, but it depends on like how many E's you put in. That way you still say yeehaw regardless of what it
On a
is.
scale of 1 to yeehaw, I'd say it's like a yeehaw.
A yeehaw.
But yeah, it's basically just there's samurais, there's cowboys,
And there's trains.
there's trains, there's paladins, there's vampires, there's a bunch of stuff. Like you'll get a better feel for it. I'm wanting to go like all out with this. I might even make like a little recording, mess with my voice a bit, add some sound in the background, a few explosions here and there, stuff along those lines. Anyways, the next one. The Immortal Magics have also made golem creation far more economical. How does King Fools feel about this?
Yes.
I love it.
Where's this golem army?
You're building up the world. That one guy, Kells, said, y'all are writing a D&D story thingy? And I'm like, yes, we're building up the world. He's asking me questions, and those questions will help shape the world that we play our next campaign.
Yeah, in our previous campaign, his character became king, and the next campaign that we're doing is set in X hundred years into the future. So I basically want to build the world off of how his character would have run a sort of kingdom.
In the year 18XX.
In the steampunk Mega Man.
Of course.
Okay, so like what? I mean, you're the king. You get tax money. You can do basically whatever you want. What are you doing with golems?
Where's your standing
what am I
golem?
doing with golems?
Where's your standing
I mean,
golem?
yeah, you love it, but I imagine you love the trains that allow you to travel between places in archipelago and whatnot.
I think golems would actually be really nice security. The idea that if there was a generic law enforcement for the hub city, not for the other places, because I don't really control them as much, I would make golems like the police.
Golems are the personal guard.
But how good are golems
Army.
actually in that?
I mean, they're about as good as your golems.
I mean, yeah, but like
That's really
they
good.
they need commands though.
Yeah. You can have like a police chief who's like not a golem. And then you can have golems.
So what makes your golems like visibly different from like standard? I just built a golem out of rocks and clay golems.
Police uniform.
Of course.
Yeah, I expect them to have some sort of uniform style, but like what? Are you like painting them all black with a little blue stripe? What's the deal?
Make them black in the name of Darkhill.
I'll probably have like a sculpt that's specifically made by the hub city, and that sculpt is supposed to be made exclusively for police golems. Counterfeit police golems, if such a thing exists, would have to try and recreate that sculpt.
Alright.
That sounds rather easy to do. Whatever.
I mean, if you got the money to do it, I'm making custom weapons for this campaign. As far as each island has different materials they can work with and different philosophies about making
See,
weapons.
Jed, if you were on the Discord, you'd know all of this.
I'm learning it now.
But anyways, like you guys aren't gonna buy a good weapon for less than like 200 gold. So imagine trying to like make a counterfeit cast of golems. It won't be easy.
That one guy, Kells, said, what's the funnest part of D&D to you? He said, I really like writing characters and their philosophy. My favorite part personally is probably like the character acting portion of it, and strategizing. I like the idea of not just jumping into a fight, but trying to like plan it out and go at it from different angles if you can.
Alright.
Too bad I never got my plant growth fire combo.
I GM most of the time, so the role-playing thing is a lot of fun for me as well. Especially when I get to do my stupid accents.
Oh, I want to see that mesh. Like, since there's going to be like more integration between like races, I want to go to a place where like it's all the vocal tics have like mixed together because it's been like years and everyone's like integrated.
There will be some of that, but if you go to individual islands, like if you go to New Alexandrite where those vampires and human dwarf hybrids are from, they will still mostly maintain their accents. but
Yeah,
they-
how, mate?
Yeehaw!
Yeah, no.
Or if you go to the Oni land with the samurai, they'll be like Konnichiwa, partner. The samurai cowboys. Anyways, let's move on to the next one here. War and religion is the next section. The kingdom of Roxxon is the eastern neighbor of the orc kingdom of Steelblood. The orc kingdom just finished a civil war where the old friend of King Fools, Grumach Steelblood, ascended to the throne. What sort of relations does the kingdom of Roxxon have with
Quote unquote
orcs?
friend, quote unquote wanted to kill us all, quote unquote.
Yeah. Trust me, that'll come up. Not here, but it'll come up later.
We're going to like have like a peaceful stance, but not necessarily allies. What I mean by that is we're not necessarily trading with them, and we're not necessarily
You're being neutral.
yeah, we're not welcoming.
You're trying to be isolationalist.
Right. We're not gonna welcome them in necessarily. We're not gonna refuse them, but we're not gonna be like, come on down. We're not going
Come on down to the Price is Right.
Yeah, we're not gonna initiate trade with them. And if they like get in a war or something, we're not gonna be like fuck them, but we're not gonna come help either.
Alright, now that's your side of it. I will ask Gerard his opinions and see how he wants his country to interact.
No, we're just gonna kill them all.
Yeah, that'd be a really interesting state.
So we'll figure that out as we go. Anyways, the next question. The cult of Oberon led a rebellion against King Fools, but failed miserably. How does King Fools deal with these traitors, and does it influence any laws surrounding the worship of Oberon?
That's actually really interesting. I kind of forgot about that, Nick.
You're like, I renamed the country, there's no more point thinking about this.
For context for people watching, he was playing as a warlock, and Mr. Hand, that you cannot see right now, was also playing as a warlock. And they both worshipped Oberon, but
Well, worship is a strong word.
he was your patron. Anyways, what he didn't realize was that Oberon is actually a dick. So he eventually said, hey, fuck you, Oberon. And then Oberon basically spoke on the wind, fuck you. And they broke their contract, and he ended up with a different patron. I can't remember his name.
Archfiend.
It's something like Lorcon, but not necessarily Lorcon. Yo, CJ, welcome to the stream. You're off screen currently.
How much lore do you want to hear, CJ?
You went to Five Guys and you didn't get a shake. That's understandable. They're watery there. Hella watery shakes.
What are you streaming?
The lore.
Yeah, we're world building for the next D&D
Do
campaign.
you want to hear the lore?
Since he became King Roxxon, I just wrote up a couple, 10 questions to help build the next world, as far as what the campaign is going to be structured like. Anyways, Cult of Oberon, led a rebellion, failed miserably.
Right. What am I gonna do about the cultists? What did they do? I feel like that actually will heavily depend on like how I would judge them, right?
King Oberon straight up told his cultists, hey, see that guy over there? What's the word for somebody who leaves a religion?
Heretic.
Heretic, yeah.
No, apostate.
Oh, okay.
He's an apostate. He left the service of Oberon, and he's the king now. He also took my land. Go kill him.
Mhm.
So Oberon basically told a bunch of people who worshipped or patroned him to kill you. And like I said, they failed miserably. We'll get to how they failed miserably in the next question, but how do you want to deal with that? Like, I mean, this is your thing. You can like forgive them. You can like ban the worship of Oberon. I mean, again, you're incredibly powerful. You can do whatever you want here.
I probably wouldn't do any religious bans. I really want. Yo, Mirror Tanker, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you.
Hi, Mirror
He
Tanker.
typed in all caps, so like hit me really quickly. To be honest, I'd probably forgive them depending on how our like nation is set up. If I'm in a position
Right.
where yeah.
These traitors,
Mhm.
like they didn't do any of this until after you had set up a kingdom. They literally stormed your capital and killed a bunch of people.
Oh, I see. It wasn't just an assassination attempt on me.
And they were trying
It
to
was
coup d'etat you.
Straight up terrorism.
Like, you know, the whole Ickle was like, hey, I want you guys to spread chaos to fight Oberon.
Oh, they
Oberon
were like
is
us, essentially?
Hmm?
They were like us, but for Oberon?
yeah, but this
Oh, that's
time you
cool.
guys weren't dicks.
What classes were they?
Like, Colin's gonna know what classes they were.
These
They were
weren't-
probably all berserkers.
Were they all warlocks?
They were probably all
I can see
berserkers.
that because they were all under like Oberon.
Have you played Oblivion?
A little bit. I walked a lot and picked up flowers.
Yeah, okay, those of you familiar with the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, these guys were essentially the cult of the Mythic Dawn. Like, the guys who worshipped that one god and basically started an entire crisis. So yeah, these weren't just like 10 dudes running around and they ended up killing a bunch of people on their way to kill you. This was like
No.
a small
No one's
army of people.
Oh wow. What level were they?
I mean, this is a large, you're dealing with an entire religion here.
Theoretically, you'd be level 20 by this point, by the way, Jen.
Essentially, or like over leveled, frankly. Like, I mean, you guys went on more adventures in order to like unite the land, and then this entire continent basically became an archipelago.
Roxanne actually mastered all the classes, got level 20 every class.
He is
I don't think you'd be that motivated.
He is the Omni Warrior. But so yeah, I mean, again, like this was a coup d'état. This was a small army. This is like, think of it like, I'm trying to think of a real world example that won't like start a flame war if this video is found 20 years from now.
Oh, don't worry, start all the flame wars. That's all the whole point.
No.
I mean, if there were a small army of people who killed a whole bunch of people,
There-
I don't necessarily want to exile them. I think that'd be stupid.
Keep in mind, this is Oberon, so this is most likely not the only time he would try this.
Right.
Essentially, how are
I
you
mean,
going to deal
you
with every
pers-
time Oberon tries to kill you?
You personally know Oberon. You know what he does, so you really have to think, like, how exactly you are going to prevent this from happening again.
How do you kill a god?
How do you kill a god?
Well, in your case, is stab it a bunch, because that's how you killed Ecol. He was literally
really a god,
And
though?
call him names.
He was a god. You just like found the magical MacGuffin that like reduced him from god.
I mean, he's just a really powerful magical being, really. Like, gods are, like, untouchable things.
The next campaign. Nerd Tinker said, so how are you planning on playing D&D? It's like, we're planning the story of the next campaign. We're going to play D&D more than likely than not in this room next semester. And you said that you'll be able to provide a battery pack, so we'll be able to, like,
yes.
record for an
So-
extended period.
Yeah, so 2, 3, 4 hour streams of us playing.
And I've never done the live streaming through my laptop. I used to record on my laptop back when that was a feature, but it is possible for me to use this camera to stream. It probably would be shitty quality, but we could just plug this bitch into a wall, and I feel like it would be fine, yeah. So that would be interesting.
Sounds like people just like listening, Jet. Where's my podcast?
I don't know if a podcast would be able to grasp like the look on your face when you get a bad dice roll, though.
I don't know, I mean,
Also-
Ashes was pretty well heard in the voice.
You did get ashed.
Yeah,
Well, dusted.
Thanos, no.
Anyways, what are you gonna do
Oh,
to
right.
this cult?
Segregated to different prisons. I don't want them all in the same prison, because then I feel like they could be like, oh, well, we just have our gang and we're safe.
We're
Yeah,
gonna,
there's like
we're
a-
gonna have these guards who are gonna let us keep our weapons.
Oh no, yeah, that's true. Better prisons than Equal. Equal's shitty ass prisons. They don't get to keep their stuff. But I mainly just don't want them to have like strong forces within one prison. And if Oberon sent new people, I wouldn't want him to be like, go to that one prison where all the niggas are and get them out. They'd have to travel to get all their old people. So it'll just be easier.
But what happens if Oberon attacks you 10 times with a group of 100 people each, and you've only got 10 jails?
And you'll get to
Eventually, there will be a large enough mass in each individual jail that they can jailbreak, and then all come at your central city all at once.
We
So-
might need more jails.
We're going to segregate the traitors to different prisons, take all their stuff, and weaken Oberon's worship as far as like. Wait, no.
I'm fine with people like worshiping him.
Worshiping
He's an
Oberon.
asshole. I mean, they can do what they want.
Religious freedom.
Yeah, religious freedom. Nerd Tinker said, "Are there dragons? If no, then you have to."
Then you're just playing dungeons.
Or then you're just there's no dragon.
Here's the thing. This isn't like America where we have like 7 major religions worshipped here, and we don't have like guaranteed proof of one or the other. Like this is.
There's just it's basically the Greek pantheon merged with like 5 other pantheons, and they all technically exist.
There's a lot of weird gods.
Like, these
like
are-
the becoming a god thing was weird.
Like this, I mean, you've got Alden, who is a god who is in your party.
Takisi is goddess of night and hatred.
Her too. You got Oberon. Like there's like when I say these people worship them, they're not like getting on their knees and praying to these gods. They're like, yeah, he's like the leader of my faction.
I see what you mean.
So like if you like told people to hunt down and kill Oberon, it'd be hard, but you could actually get Oberon like God.
Nah, Oberon can keep being a dick. I'm
Okay.
I'm
All right.
fine with that.
Segregate the
Why are you
traders.
trying to
different
get us to get rid of
prisons.
all of our gods, Colin?
I had a campaign like that once. Actually, we actually like snuffed out magic because all of the magic was
Through the
sourced
gods.
through gods.
Oh, fun.
So like there were maybe 3 people.
No
left
crystals
on
up in the moon, huh?
Pretty much. So segregate the traders to different prisons. Take all their stuff. Do not ban worship of Oberon. All right. Question 8. Alden Doncaster, after ascending to godhood, was an invaluable ally in defeating the Oberon rebellion, along with those who worship him. Seeing as both Oberon and Ecole have been detrimental to the region, and the kingdom of Roxxon does not have an official religion, one of King Fool's advisors informs him that it may be prudent to recognize Alden Doncaster as the patron god of the kingdom. How does King Fool's feel about this?
What is this, make a country online?
So I've never been a fan of straight up saying our nation is mainly da-na-na-na. I'll definitely be totally fine and supportive of people who follow Alden, but I'm not necessarily going to be like that's our main religion. Religious freedom.
So
People do whatever.
So there's this guy that you hung out with for a very long time,
Yep.
who on multiple occasions saved your
Yep.
ass, and in this situation prevented the collapse of your young kingdom.
Yep.
And all you're gonna do is basically be like, "Good job, buddy."
He'll have statues and stuff because he helped. He was like in the main fight.
He already had statues. He was a god.
Right.
He has more statues.
He'll have more
More statues.
He has more than that Dark Gale.
He'll get a statue right next to Shadow Dark.
That'll be
Gale.
5 times bigger.
He'll be written about in books and celebrated.
Yes, but all of that was gonna happen with or without your help.
But now I'm healthy. Now there's more. Nerd Tanker's like,
Alden.
yes, Lord of the Ring reference.
Doncaster.
Look, we both know that Chet is poor on making choices between being a pacifist and being a ranger. I don't really think we have much argument that we can really make towards anything that Chet says.
Alright, so Alden Doncaster's cool, and King Fool's is cool with him, but he will not recognize an official religion. Okay. Alright, King Fool's legacy. King Fool's is growing old and tired. He has many children, some of whom would be worthy successors to the throne. Who is King Fool's successor, and what artifact will King Fool's pass down to recognize the new ruler?
Oh, interesting. In my own writings, I was like, they have red hair. That was.
That's all I got.
King Fool's children are redheads. They have no souls.
I feel
Black
like
people with red hair and freckles. That's no ginger.
I'm not black in D&D.
Exactly.
I'm tan.
Yeah.
So you're not a ginger.
They would be able to inherit like the hub city and the government. Is there like a special item I'm supposed to give them? And if so, like what is like what?
That's what I'm asking.
Here's my personal golem.
Like you,
What? His
collected-
name's Eldrin.
you collected like a series of magical items over your previous adventure. On top of that, like you could just like
Make
pick out a
something.
random magical item or like a.
I
single
call this the
magical-
wishing stone. It allows me to make one
You
wish
can cast
every
wish.
50 years.
Here are the 7 dragon wish stones. So I can just make something. I can just be like, I had this.
Well, let's discuss it. Like, what kind of item would properly represent the legacy of King Fool's? And like, if somebody, like, in a scenario in which the current king is like kidnapped or something, and he escapes kidnap, how exactly is he going to prove that he's the king?
I wouldn't mind having like a crown that lets you cast minor illusion as many times as you want, and they can run side by side with each other. That would really be helpful in
Wait, you can-
performances.
Oh, okay, never mind. I
Yeah,
thought it was gonna be dumb. That's
it's
like,
also dumb.
So,
I mean it is, but like you're saying that you can essentially have multiple casts of minor illusion out at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is significantly better than any other variation of minor illusion.
Right.
is you have to concentrate on minor illusion normally.
Let's see.
Still not the greatest because again, but better than what it could have been.
Well, I mean, what else would Roxanne want?
A kingdom.
I have that.
I mean, there are probably better ways to enforce the kingdom than a crown that gives you minor illusions.
A lot of money. As much as you want.
Okay, so what's the name of King Fool's child that was the first to take the crown of illusions after King Fool's?
Ooh, Maxon.
Of course. Now, what's your current character's name? Because your current character's also descendant.
Current character is Swagzon.
So is he like a distant relative that is not a direct descendant?
Fuck.
Like-
I have like a
Like there's a straight there's a straight line of succession. Like it's not like, oh, you're the first child.
I think
so
Jen
you're
was thinking
nice.
that this was so far in the future that he'd have multiple
Right.
generations.
Yeah,
And that's why
I
it's why.
actually-
Yeah, this is far enough that there's multiple generations. So like
He's
your
the
character's like
most current generation is what his character is supposed to be.
My character, in the current idea, his dad fucked off. He was like, I don't really want the life of luxury as like a royalty. He's like living in the woods. He meets this forest gnome. She's like, I hunt fucking massive beasts, and like that's my thing, and I enjoy doing that. And he's like, that's really different.
What's
I'll
like
try that.
What's the official like royal title of the son of a prince? Because that's what you're saying your character is.
The son of a prince.
Like you're it's not like a duke, is it? No, a duke is.
I mean, a duke is just like a title.
Is it a baron?
I don't even think it's that. I think that's another just like there's a hierarchy of titles, and I don't think it necessarily.
Damn it! It just told me who the son of a prince was. It didn't like it's like, do you mean Prince Harry? And it's like, no, I
What's
don't.
a marquis? What's a marquis?
A marquis? I got you.
Because I think that's it. I remember that being like an Adventure Time or something. I thought that show was good. It was like the Marquis of Nuts or something.
That show's over.
Yeah, I know.
I
Thank
think
God.
I spelled it wrong.
Marquis.
Oh, okay. I definitely spelled it wrong.
Did you spell it like quiche pie?
A nobleman ranking above a count and below a duke.
So no. Alright.
I'm
let's do
almost
this.
confident that there's not an explicit title for it.
I don't know. There are a lot of words. There's a word for being thrown out of a window. I forgot what that word is, but it specifically means to be thrown out of a window.
Then look up Duke and Baron then.
Not son of prince. Son of a prince.
No, Son of Prince, that's your title.
Okay, Quora.
So
says
they're
what
literally
is
just
it?
princes.
Yeah.
Like, if you're the son of a prince, you're also a prince.
Yeah. That's probably the best that I would go with.
I'm just gonna say that whatever your character is like the son of a prince, but nobody knows that you're a prince. You have no sort of iconography that says, "Yo, I'm the prince," except for maybe like that red hair that just seems to be dominant throughout the family.
Also,
line.
if you're-
Is he a redhead?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Also, if your dad screwed off and you're in the woods with your dad, then who's running the country?
He has a sibling.
I mean, there's like King Fools was just like a ridiculously virile individual.
Apparently. Or at the very least, one of his descendants just got really crazy.
So, like, give me like a one-sentence description of King Fools' successor, King Maxon.
Oh, King, like what King Maxon is it like? Okay.
Just a one-sentence thing, like, people, is he like, or maybe like a descriptive adjective, like King Maxon the Iron Fisted or something.
10 words or less.
More eccentric. It
King
got-
Maxon the Eccentric.
but even more than Roxanne. It was like worse. Because I imagined Roxanne got with Potion Chick. I feel like that would make a crazier child.
King Maxon the Even More Eccentric.
What a title.
So King Fools' Crown of Illusion, a powerful item which can cast minor illusions at will, multiple times at once, is passed down from generation to generation of rulers, the current wearer being King Maxon the Even More Eccentric.
There we go.
Basically, you were eccentric but somewhat stifled by society. And since he lived since he lived as a prince, he didn't have society saying, you can't do that. So I guess that'll work. Alright, 10th and final question. A king must pass judgment as well as laws. What are some laws that the king may have passed that would not have been mentioned above?
Oh, I'm not sure what wouldn't have been mentioned above. My main thing is everyone is welcome everywhere if you're like from the kingdom. Not necessarily if you're outside, but not necessarily not that. There's no law that says you can't come in, but we're not necessarily. There's no law that says you can, I guess.
Strict immigration policies, what else?
But yeah, anyone can go anywhere. Anyone's welcome to live anywhere. And it's encouraged. We really, really want you to like branch out from just where you are and to welcome more people in from other places.
I just realized how I'm gonna have a fun time trying to get into your archipelago then.
Oh, if you're like outside.
What's your character gonna be?
I'll go into that a little bit after you're done with all of this because there's no point in side railing real hard.
I suppose. You got a point there. I mean, do you have, like, holidays are recognized as laws.
United Kingdom Day. It celebrates the death of Equal and the uniting of
Scientology Day.
of the Kingdom of Roswell. What other things?
The first
Train
of
day.
winter is...
Remember when we got trains? This shit was crazy. Gun Day?
Remember when we got
guns?
That was a pretty nebulous thing. Like, there were multiple different inventors working on trains and guns.
They actually came out on the same
Yeah,
time.
everyone had a maybe gun week and train week. And it was all around but we can't pinpoint a day.
What is this? What are you trying to do? Make Golden Week and guns and trains? Like, stop.
Now I would like Gollum Day to be a thing. Gollum Day, everybody gets a Gollum.
No.
Understood. As I was saying it, I was like, Gollum Day sounds like a problem after all.
Just 1 year is a problem.
I'm a very loyal citizen of Roxxon. Been here for 50 years.
I got 50 goals.
Yeah, I love all my Gollums. I got one as a baby. It can cast a wish.
Strict immigration policies, open borders within the kingdom states. The first day of winter is recognized as the anniversary of the kingdom of Roxxon, and the entire week is made up of celebrations such as Gun Day, Train Day, and Golem Day.
But you're not,
Don't get a free golem.
do you
You
know
just
how
have
much?
like golems that shoot fireworks.
Jen,
and
like
shit.
how big
Should
do
there be
you
a
how big do you
discount on Gollum?
Jen, how big do you think your country is?
Multiple islands now.
But,
Each
like,
the size
population
of
wise.
Huntsville?
Population wise.
I don't know how big Huntsville is.
There's like 1 million recognized citizens.
You have 1 million people golems.
Million people though. Hey guys.
They're just so. I'll work out what the
Taxes.
actual. My tax return came to me in the form of this little stone statue.
You just get a Gollum.
Oh, hey, look, I paid my taxes on time. I get a golem. But, no. I'm not gonna have that many golems running around. I mean, I'll have a bunch of golems running around, and if you guys get in trouble with the law, you'll have to fight the golems or something, but that's it.
Prepare to die if you break the law. That's too many Gollums.
Prepare to be pardoned by Swags on.
By
Swag on. I like the name.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else? Like, discount. I mean, do you
Our
wanna
family
have,
was
like,
not creative. We always had to put ons at the end of our names for some dumb reason.
do you want like discounts on premium Snapchats or something?
Discount. We have Snapchat, trains, guns, and Snapchat.
And Bitcoin. Don't forget the Bitcoin.
Hey guys, I invented this thing on a phone. Oh, that's cool. What does it do? It lets you hop on Snapchat and lets you look at thoughts, and you can pay them for nudes. It's like, oh, that's cool. What's Snapchat? What's a thought? And what are nudes?
Is there like, who is the main manufacturer of Golems? Has anyone monopolized that shit?
It's basically impossible.
To monopolize?
Like, the way that monopolies work in real life is basically you do such a massive undercut on things that nobody can compete with you, and then everybody disappears.
But if
and
everything's
then-
cheap to begin with, then it's hard to monopolize on that.
I mean, that's basically it, but the thing on top of that is because of the way the islands were split up, a lot of the materials in this world, well, a lot of the materials necessary to do the cool shit, like build guns, run trains, and make golems, that requires stuff from multiple states within the kingdom. So, like, you can't just be like, oh, we're the Onis from the Oni Island, and we've monopolized the creation of katanas, but I mean, they can't do that because it's like they need the metals.
Look at my Nodachi!
They need the metals from like New Alexandrite. They need particular materials from that island and that island. So there's no way to do that because the governments within would be like, you're not gonna just like come. You Onis aren't gonna just come in here and take all of our metal and leave, because then that's no metal for us. Or at least that's the concept.
That's interesting.
So I'm pretty sure the only thing left is that his character sort of is revolved a lot around the background of his nation, so he probably needs to go into detail about that because I've already listened to Jet's character.
Right,
What
what?
about Swags on?
Give me a little bit about Swags on so that I can be thinking about that when I'm like building the rest of this world.
Okay, feel free to ask me any questions. It's like multiple pages long, so I'm not gonna be like
Okay,
starting from the top.
does Swags on care about royalty at all?
Does he care about royalty at all?
Like,
Not really.
he doesn't care about his titles or anything? Because I guarantee you they'd recognize it if he walked up and it's like, I'm the prince, or something like that.
I should probably just throw this in so that things start moving faster because you just asking random questions isn't going to get us very far.
Yeah.
Swags on is trying to make a gun.
Yeah, that's like his whole thing.
A gun?
A god.
Oh, you're trying to make, like,
A god.
send some.
Not
He's
someone,
trying to-
something.
He's trying to make a guy, like add components. In the story, I've like added things like some people are like, yo, don't do that, cause you'll just make equal. Like some people think that like if he tries to make a god, he'll accidentally like essentially reincarnate equal, and they're like, don't fuck that up.
I
And
suppose that's actually like a thing that happens.
Also, by the way, who's
mythology.
telling you this if you're out in the middle of the woods?
Well, remember, he's journeying to make a god. He's not just in the woods the whole time trying to make a god.
I'm just saying because like the whole thing is that you're trying to be like, and I have followers, but if you're from the woods and nobody really knows that you're royalty,
He had to adventure out to make the god, which he's still making. That's gonna be his whole reason for questing, is that he's like trying to build a god.
So, what needs to exist within the world to accommodate your ability to pursue that?
To build a god. So he's trying to learn more about individual magic spells and their components, because if spells have certain powers based off of their components, then maybe if you get the right stuff together, you can make like a god.
Oh, while I'm thinking about this, spellcasters. You're not just gonna like think and your spells are gonna, like, you're not just gonna level up and suddenly be like, oh, I know how to cast fireball now. You have to go out and buy that shit.
well, like the
Okay.
and the only thing is in that, and this might sound a little biased since I'm a warlock, but like I feel like certain classes, because of how they get their magic in the first place, don't really like wizards, for instance. Their whole thing is studying spells, so yeah, of course they need to learn spells. And
Actually study spells.
yeah, druids to a certain extent, you can make the argument wouldn't need to learn what their spells are, but you can also make the argument that they get different trees. But like a lot of classes, paladins and clerics get their spells from gods, warlocks get it from whatever patron they're from.
I suppose we'll have to discuss this
Yeah,
a little more.
sorcerers maybe would be in a situation where they have to learn their spells because they have to experiment with their magical powers.
Are sorcerers just born with it?
There's-
It's like Maybelline?
It's a couple of different things. You can either be born with it or you can just like inherit the magical power. But it's different from warlocks who are very much, these people are definitely not supposed to have magic.
Right.
Sorcerers are like, yeah, they sort of were meant to have magic in one form or another.
Avery
By
plays
inheritance.
like bloodlines.
Oh, so you're born with. That's what I got confused with.
Well, like, no,
What's
it's
the
not just being born with it. There are other ways to be a sorcerer.
Like one of, like, I'm trying to remember. There's a divine soul. There's a divine soul sorcerer where a god just looks down and he was like, "Hey, I like that guy."
But that's different from
from
patronage.
the
Yeah.
patron? Yeah.
So like, kind of, like what you did with your patron, where you were like, "Fuck you, Oberon," and then you hopped on a fiend. You couldn't really do that if you were a divine soul sorcerer.
Right,
Like-
because the god picks you.
Yeah.
Yeah, warlock is more like an agreement.
Yeah. You
Well,
can't-
not always. Sometimes you can just randomly get powers from a patron as a warlock.
Like, I
like
played-
him.
I played a warlock whose patron was Cthulhu, and Cthulhu didn't even know I existed.
Sometimes warlock just stumble onto magic. Sometimes there's an agreement. Sometimes a god's or a patron's like, I'm just gonna throw magic all around the place, and wherever it hits, that's where it hits.
Or in Cthulhu's case, he's asleep and he can't really say no.
Yeah.
Can
That
I-
sounded really fucking rapey.
That is rape.
I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go rape Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Can I have some magic?
Who's the
Say
real?
yes.
Who's the real?
It's not a no.
Who's the real Eldritch Horror?
Cthulhu still. Like, I mean, if you raped Cthulhu, I guarantee you he's done so much more evil in existence that you would probably have to rape Cthulhu like 10,000 times before it was even like a debate.
But if you rape the raper, who's really bad?
Everyone.
I remember seeing this. Do you remember that "the future's now, old man" meme?
I think I might.
Anyway, it's like this little kid, and he just says, "The future is now, old man." Like he got the edge on somebody. So it was like when you're going into the confession booth with your priest, but you rape him first, and then it says, "The future is now, old man." It's just like
Oh no.
it's the whole priest rape people joke, but it's like, oh, I'm not gonna let him rape me. I'm gonna rape him, kind of thing. But anyway, we were talking about Cthulhu and rape.
Well, we were talking about Cthulhu and rape, which led to us discussing the nature of sorcerers versus warlocks, which came from the fact of Swagzon, or which
Just trying to build a god.
yeah.
How exactly does you being a ranger help that?
Oh, so my guy starts off as
He's from the woods.
yeah. Look, that's not the only thing. I like how you're like he's from the woods.
All right, well, let me ask it like this: why is Swagzon trying to build a god?
I got you. So he was born with the ability to magically communicate with animals, which is like a forest gnome thing, but only for small animals when you start off as a forest gnome. He dedicates himself to increasing his mystical connection to the world of beast. Through his work with magic, he begins to get the feeling that the potential of magic is essentially limitless, and that it could be used to potentially build a god. Intrigued by this possibility, he begins traveling the continent in search of the components he believes will help him to create a god.
So, what kind of god is he trying to build here? Like a nature god or what?
Right now, he's just trying to.
He's just trying to
see
do
what's
anything he
possible,
can to
yeah.
make a god.
Yeah.
And he's like,
You're just gonna build like that generic, like bland ass god from Full Metal Alchemist, and then add shit to him as you go along.
Maybe.
ooh,
Depends on if the god doesn't turn evil.
Lay's potato chip god.
His
Original.
potato chip actually has some taste to him, though.
His flaw actually is he secretly fears that the god he's striving to create may grow beyond his control, and yet his curiosity forbids him from ending his
It's
quest.
basically basic scientist.
You fully understand that, like, if it became a god, it would be more powerful than you immediately.
Well, beyond his ability to do anything about it. I mean, his flaw may just be reality.
He has a hard time accepting the reality of building a god.
There is also the potential that if the god is subservient to him, then it doesn't matter.
That is true. Alright. Well, anyways, we've got the stuff covered here. I mean, I have a good idea of the...
Oh, he's got ashen ones too.
Oh, so the ashen ones is an idea I had. You don't have to put it in the campaign. At a certain point in the book, I'm just filling the book with more stuff. I went on a roll. But the concept of the ashen ones is that there was a cult of the dead trickster god who want to fulfill the trickster god's dying wish to spread chaos and get revenge on those responsible for his demise. That's why when you mentioned the Oberon cult, I was like, I forgot about that. I forgot about him entirely. I'd never mentioned Oberon in this whole book. But they have formed a criminal underground on the continent and are determined to one day wipe out the Fool's bloodline. They call themselves the Ashen Ones, named after those who were turned to ash when the trickster god's mystical energies erupted from his body at the time of his death.
So if I replaced Oberon, the cult of Oberon, with this cult of Ecol,
Would you be more harsh towards them?
Would I be more harsh towards them? I still would do the prison separation thing, but they would be more of a legitimate threat. I mean, with
When
them,
Oberon isn't.
they both
Oberon is still alive.
Ecol's dead. You're right.
Ecol's dead. Oberon is still alive. If one of those is a threat, I'm gonna say Oberon.
Fair enough. I also, another idea I had were the God Flashers. So that concept is just they're Ashen Ones, but instead of wanting to kill Swagzon because of Swagzon's royal connection, they want him to successfully build the god. Because they're like, in the same way that certain people are like, don't do it, you'll remake Ecol, they're like, do it. Remake Ecol. That. So that's like the concept behind them.
Mecha Eco.
Mecha Ecol.
Okay,
Filthy monkeys.
I guess we'll have to discuss that more. But anyways, yeah, that about covers this. Do we want to end the stream and switch over to other stuff here?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. Someone just tuned in and said, hey, welcome to the stream. It's good.
Goodbye.
We're ending the stream. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy. No matter how close I zoom in, I'm still not that close. Jet Black, the one and only, here with
Cute.
and
Regret.
logging out. Yo, they said sub and liked done. Thank you kindly. Appreciate it. And peace. Yo.